My name is Margaret. I'm 83 years old, and I need to tell you about the worst thing I ever did. I stole money, a lot of money, from the company where I worked for 12 years, money that didn't belong to me. And when people ask me why I did it, I tell them the truth. I did it for my daughter. Let me tell you what happened, because maybe it will help you understand something about yourself, about what good people are capable of when they're scared and desperate, about how easy it is to cross a line you never thought you'd cross. In 1992, I was 37 years old, single mother. My daughter Sarah was 8. Her father left when she was 3, and it was just the two of us. I worked as an accounting clerk at Morrison Construction. Good job, decent pay, health insurance. I was proud of how we were managing. Then Sarah got sick. It started with headaches. Then she couldn't keep food down. I took her to our family doctor. He sent us to a specialist. The specialist sent us to another specialist. 3 months and dozens of tests later, they told us Sarah had a brain tumor. The good news was it wasn't cancer. The bad news was she needed surgery right away. Complex surgery, the kind that costs more money than most people see in a lifetime. Our insurance covered part of it, the part they called necessary. But there were other things. Better surgeons, experimental treatments, follow-up care that might mean the difference between Sarah having a normal life or living with permanent damage. I called my insurance company every day for 2 weeks. I begged them to cover more. I fought with supervisors. I wrote letters. I even drove to their office and sat in their waiting room crying until they called security. They said no every time. I had some savings, about $8,000, not nearly enough. I took out a loan against my car, borrowed money from my sister, asked my church for help. Altogether, it still wasn't enough. The surgery was scheduled for 6 weeks away. The surgeon's office wanted $50,000 up front for the better procedure. Without it, Sarah would get the basic surgery. It would save her life, they said, but it might leave her with problems they could prevent with the more expensive option. I worked in accounting. I knew exactly how much money came through our office every week. Payroll, vendor payments, petty cash. I had access to most of it. I had the passwords. I knew which accounts were rarely checked. For 3 weeks, I told myself I would figure something out, some other way to get the money. I applied for every loan I could find. I called distant relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. I sold everything I owned that had any value. Nothing worked. 2 weeks before Sarah's surgery, I made the decision that ruined my life. I took $25,000 from the company's vendor payment account, money that was supposed to pay suppliers the next week. I told myself it was just temporary. I would pay it back after Sarah's surgery. I would work extra hours. I would find a way. I used that money to pay the surgeon. Sarah got the better surgery. The operation was successful. She recovered completely. No permanent damage, no complications. My little girl was going to be fine. I thought I was the luckiest mother in the world. For 6 months, I tried to pay the money back. I worked overtime. I sold everything else I owned. I took a second job cleaning offices at night. I put every penny I could toward replacing what I'd taken. But $25,000 is a lot of money when you're a single mother. I managed to replace about $3,000. I was making progress, but it was slow, too slow. Then the company started preparing for their annual audit. I knew they would find the missing money. I knew they would trace it back to me. I had nightmares about it for weeks. I told myself maybe they wouldn't notice. Maybe I could explain it somehow. Maybe they would understand why I did it. They found it on a Tuesday morning in March. My supervisor called me into his office. The auditors were there. The company president was there. They had printouts showing exactly where the money went and when. They asked me if I knew anything about it. I could have lied. Part of me wanted to. But I looked at those men sitting around the table and I couldn't do it. I told them the truth. I told them about Sarah's surgery, about the insurance company saying no, about being desperate and scared and not knowing what else to do. I told them I was trying to pay it back. I showed them the records of the money I'd already returned. They listened. They were even sympathetic. But then they asked me the question I couldn't answer. Margaret, if another employee stole money for their sick child, what would you want us to do? I couldn't answer because I knew what I would want them to do. I would want them to call the police. I would want that person prosecuted. Because stealing is wrong, no matter why you do it. They gave me a choice. I could resign immediately and they wouldn't press charges. But I would have to pay back the full amount within 30 days. Or they would call the police and let the courts decide. I didn't have the money to pay back. I couldn't get it in 30 days, so they called the police. The worst part wasn't being arrested. The worst part was having to tell Sarah. She was 9 years old, healthy and happy because of that surgery. And I had to explain to her that Mommy was going to jail because of the money I stole to save her. She cried and said it was her fault, that she was sorry for getting sick, that she didn't want the surgery if it meant I had to go away. Breaking my little girl's heart was worse than any punishment the judge could give me. I was sentenced to 15 years. I served 12 with good behavior. 12 years away from my daughter during the most important time of her life. She was 9 when I went in, 21 when I got out. My sister raised Sarah while I was gone. Sarah visited me sometimes, but it wasn't the same. How could it be? I was her mother, and I wasn't there. I missed her 10th birthday, her first day of high school, her graduation, her first job, her first heartbreak. All because I thought I was doing the right thing.
In prison, I had a lot of time to think, a lot of time to replay that decision over and over, to wonder if there was something else I could have done, some other choice I could have made. The other inmates used to share their stories. Most of them had reasons for what they did. Bad childhoods, addiction, desperation, fear. All of them thought they were doing what they had to do at the time. And all of them were wrong, just like I was wrong. Here's what I learned in those 12 years. There's no such thing as stealing for a good reason. There's no such thing as a noble crime. When you take something that doesn't belong to you, you become a thief.
I used to tell myself I was different from other criminals. I was a good person who made one bad choice. I was a loving mother who was trying to save her child. But when the company's suppliers didn't get paid because I took their money, that hurt real people. When the company had to cover the loss, that came out of my co-workers' bonuses and raises. When my daughter grew up without her mother, that damaged her in ways I'm still discovering. I didn't just hurt myself when I stole that money. I hurt a lot of people. People who trusted me. People who depended on me. People who loved me. The hardest thing to accept was that I had other choices.
I could have let Sarah have the basic surgery and trusted that she would be okay. I could have kept fighting the insurance company. I could have started a fundraiser. I could have asked for help from people I was too proud to ask. But I didn't do any of those things. I took the easy way out. I solved my problem by making it someone else's problem. I stole money from people who earned it honestly because I was too scared and too proud to admit I couldn't handle it alone. When I got out of prison, Sarah was grown up. She had graduated college, gotten married, started her own family. The surgery I paid for with stolen money had worked perfectly. She was healthy and successful and beautiful. But she was also distant, polite but careful, loving but guarded. Prison hadn't just taken 12 years from me. It had taken the close relationship I used to have with my daughter. That was gone forever. We've rebuilt our relationship over the past 10 years. It's good now, but it's different. She's forgiven me, but she's never forgotten what I did. How could she? Every time she looks at me, she remembers that her mother is a convicted felon. She has 2 children now, my grandchildren. Sometimes I watch her with them, and I see how careful she is, how she makes sure they understand right from wrong, how she teaches them that there are no shortcuts to doing the right thing. I know she's thinking about me when she tells them those things, about the choice I made and the price we all paid for it. I'm 83 years old now. Sarah turned 50 last month. Her children are teenagers. I've been out of prison for 15 years, and I still think about that decision every single day. Not because I regret saving my daughter's life. I don't. Sarah is alive and healthy because of that surgery. But I regret how I paid for it. I regret the choice I made and the people I hurt and the years we lost because of it. There were other ways. There are always other ways. But when you're scared and desperate, it's hard to see them. It's easy to convince yourself that you don't have a choice, that you're doing something wrong for the right reasons. But wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter why you do it. I see people today facing the same kinds of problems I faced. Money problems, health problems, family problems that feel impossible to solve. And I watch them make the same kinds of choices I made. Small compromises that lead to bigger compromises that eventually lead to disaster. They tell themselves what I told myself, that they're good people, that they're just trying to help their families, that they'll make it right somehow, that the rules don't apply when someone you love is in danger. But the rules always apply, and there's always another way, even when you can't see it. If you're facing something that feels impossible right now, I want you to remember my story. Remember that taking shortcuts with other people's money doesn't solve anything. It just creates bigger problems. Remember that being desperate doesn't make stealing okay. Remember that good intentions don't excuse bad actions. Ask for help. Real help from real people who care about you. Be honest about how bad things are. Swallow your pride. Accept charity if you have to. Try every legal option before you even think about illegal ones, because once you cross that line, you can't uncross it. Once you become someone who steals, that's who you are. And everyone who trusted you will remember that for the rest of their lives. I stole money to save my daughter's life. She's alive and healthy today, and I'm grateful for that every day. But the cost was higher than I ever imagined. Not just the prison time, but the trust I lost, the relationship I damaged, the example I set. There had to have been another way. There's always another way. I just wasn't brave enough to find it. I was a good person who made a terrible choice, but that doesn't make the choice any less terrible, and it doesn't make me any less responsible for the consequences. Don't make my mistake. Don't convince yourself that stealing is okay if you have a good enough reason. Don't tell yourself that you'll pay it back later. Don't risk everything you have for a shortcut that isn't worth it, because some prices are too high to pay, and some mistakes you can never fully fix.
My name is Margaret Thompson. I'm 83 years old. I saved my daughter's life by destroying mine, and even though she's healthy and happy today, I still wish I had found another way. There was another way. There always is. You just have to be brave enough to find it.